Well, before we,
All right. Hello. Happy Monday. Good morning. My name is Julia, and I am one of the owners of California Skincare Supply. And we are the national distributors for all of Dermostart, but today's class is specifically on ClearChoice. I am super excited for you guys to get to learn it. This is a product knowledge class, and please feel free to ask any questions. We love questions. Put them in the chat. Myself or Ella will answer them. And oh, we do have a coupon code set up for all of our class attendees. It is just CSS, and that is valid on California Skincare Supply. All of Clear Choice will be 15% off through Friday, so you have some time to kind of marinate this class over. If you guys have any questions at all, please email me, please call me. I can walk you through placing an order. I can answer any questions you might have. A little bit about us. We are a multi-brand distributor. We carry, like we like to think, the esthetician's edge. Pretty much everything an esthetician needs to make his business successful, ranging from the super clinical side to organic to wax supplies, everything you need. We are a one-stop shop. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us. I think that is pretty much everything, but without further ado, Ella is going to teach this wonderful product knowledge clear choice class for us today. So Ella, you go ahead and take over.
thanks, guys. Before I turn my camera off, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to go about things a little bit different than just product knowledge. Not that that's not important, but we're really going to put it into condition-specific action plans.
Sorry,
So,
Ella, I went to pin you and it took off your PowerPoint. Let me see if I can get that back.
no problem.
I
In
don't
the
know.
meantime, I'll just speak a little bit about, now we were playing a fun game before we got started here, but we were talking about Dermastart brands and really the powerhouse that is Dermastart. So in Dermastart brands, there's four different brands that we represent and are formulated. Clear Choice, which we'll get into in just a minute, was the pioneer of the brand. And then we have the introduction of Prana Spa Pharmaceuticals. Prana Spa Pharmaceuticals was created to fulfill the demand of the growing blurring of the lines between med spa and spa, and it's just kind of taken off from there. Prana Spa Pharmaceuticals is also the pioneer of intimate brightening, and you will obviously be exposed to many great classes by California Skincare Supply. And then we have My Dermatician, and then also Dirty Lash. Really, we have something for everyone. Are we good now, Julia?
You're good to go. Thank you for your patience.
So I am a longtime educator, licensed esthetician, most importantly, a practicing esthetician. So I'm just like you guys. And one of the things that I had to learn the hard way right after school is how do I put this into practice? So let's get into that here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and I'll be back on to answer questions in a little bit. But let's get into clear choice. ClearChoice's tagline is delivering results beyond the surface. And that's key to keep in mind because it's so much more than just making superficial changes. It's really about influencing the skin health. ClearChoice was the pioneer brand, and you'll see physician grade results because it was formulated for the medical market. It was intended always to be a results driven skincare line that would use actives. And when we talk about actives, we're not just saying bioengineered, we're talking about all the things that circle back to that original intention of creating healthy skin. How is the skin supposed to operate? Why is it not operating as optimal strength? And let's fix it. So one of the key cornerstones of Clear Choice is the education. And education is so key because we're able to translate these messages. How do these products work effectively? But also, we're in a ever-changing industry. We're not just trends, but new ingredients are introduced all the time. We want to make sure that we are providing skincare professionals with the most current, relevant, accurate, scientific, and technical knowledge. And that contributes to a strong foundation for your business success. So let's talk about one of the very first conditions that really affects all skin. when we look at melanin, melanin touches everything, right? Can you think of one skin condition that doesn't run the risk of encouraging hyperpigmentation? There's not one. And the reason for that is because hyperpigmentation is a response to perceived injury, perceived assault, because melanin is actually a protective mechanism. So if we think of acne, if we think of aging, anything inflammatory or sensitized, or especially hormonal influences, our body kicks in to try to help out, to try to protect. So in understanding that, we know that our bodies don't always get it right. So we have to be sure that we're sending the messages to the skin that say, hey, thank you so much, but we've got it from here. You'll find that though we're going to be getting into specifically the hyperpigmentation section here, a lot of really all of our products are actually formulated with the consideration of this process. Nice little visual here. We can see of the skin just being absolved of the extra defenses. So why do we want to regulate melanin metabolism? We want to regulate melanin metabolism because of what I said. It just doesn't always get things right. So we have to do that in a few different ways. It's so much more than just inhibiting tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is very important, and that's where, as an industry, we have focused on this one section, but it starts before that. It starts when the alarm bells start to sing in the body that says, hey, we need some help. Sometimes those are initiated by keratinocytes in something called a plasmin effect, or other times they are signaled with our body's immune function or with our largest, well, I shouldn't say largest, our skin is the largest organ, but the boss, we'll call it, and that is the brain. So our approach to regulating it considers all of the ways melanin is either induced or created or transferred. Let's start by looking at one of the key things that we want to address, which is preventing melanin signaling hormone, or MSH, initiation. MSH is when the body says, the brain says, you know what, we've got to protect, so let's go forth. Let's tell melanocytes to start producing and get the melanosomes in motion. This we see often in hormonal instigation. That is a cross communication that is not correct, but it's like something's going on. We need to fix it. Send the melanin soldiers out. There is another step in this, and it's MITF. That's melanin inducing transcription factor. And that's when the skin cells are signaling, hey, we need some help here. We're not sure what's going on, but we're pretty sure we're under attack. And so MITF will send a message. Both MSH and MITF sound the alarms, and then melanocytes start producing. In that production, the next phase, we have a process depending on if we're doing eumelanin or pheomelanin. What we're going to talk about today mostly is eumelanin. So eumelanin is the type of pigment that is going to give us those dark brown irregular spots. But I guess we'll pause here for a quick question, just something to think about. But how many different types of melanin do we have in our body? Just a quick question. Absorb it. Think about it. I mentioned 2. Is that all? The answer is we have 3. So we have eumelanin, which is the brown or black pigment. We have pheomelanin, which is the yellow tinted or red pigment. And then we have neuromelanin. And so when we think of that, what is neuromelanin? All 3 forms are meant to protect as an antioxidant, but doesn't always get it right. So in the eumelanin production, we have a process where tyrosinase is introduced. It's not the only element in producing melanin. There are other factors in there like dopaquinone and so on. But tyrosinase is the enzyme that helps to finish the job. That and then TRP1 and tyrosinase related protein 1. And what happens is you've got through the whole process of baking and producing, and then the melanin gets into little vehicles called melanosomes. The melanosomes then transfer through little dendrites, little finger type appendages, and they dock to keratinocytes, and then they spread, intended to help. So if we're going to stop the alarm bells, first of all, because we don't always need that call to action. Our bodies are very sophisticated, but to be quite frank, they haven't caught up to the fact that we wear clothes now. We're inside now. We don't need those, the melanin, the extra melanin. And then the tyrosinase, if we inhibit the production at several different points, we're stopping that production opportunity. And then we're able to avert anything that does get produced and stop it from transferring into keratinocytes. Then we have an opportunity for even skin tone. Let's talk about a few different ingredients or products that do that. So first, the hydrating cleanser is in this category. So the hydrating cleanser for hyperpigmentation is one of several right answers. I've put this one in there because we're going to have a clean canvas without instigating any of those triggers, any of those, oh my gosh, moments from keratinocytes. The hydrating cleanser is fantastic because it helps to strengthen the hydrolipid barrier. It doesn't strip the skin, and it's especially effective for compromised skin. Let's talk about a few of the key ingredients in here. I don't want to necessarily go one by one, but one particular here is DMAE. I love DMAE, especially if your skin is in that responsive state, because in a responsive state, we call it like a trigger reaction. Anything that comes across it could be, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then we have MSH or MITF initiation in the skin. So DMAE particularly is awesome because it signals the mechanoreceptors and sensory neurons to like, whoa, girl, calm down. And it also helps boost the efficacy of other antioxidants. Then we have ALA or alpha lipoic acid, which helps to amplify the efficacy of DMAE. Best friends, love that. Next, we have, I want to turn over to this side. We have D-panthenol or vitamin B5, one of my top favorite ingredients. You'll hear me say favorite ingredients quite a bit because I am a self-professed ingredient junkie, but D-panthenol especially because it helps to support the barrier function, and a healthy barrier minimizes the opportunity for hyperpigmentation. Next, we have L-ascorbic acid in this amazing cleanser. L-ascorbic acid, really important because it is the most bioavailable form of vitamin C, so it doesn't have to go through a conversion process. Also, it's stabilized, of course, but the stabilization is enhanced with the other ingredients in this formulation. Next, we have our hyperpigmentation treatment solution. This treatment solution is fantastic because it offers targeted brightening. So really cool the way that it works is two key ingredients here. We have phytic acid and niacinamide. Of course, niacinamide is the ingredient of, the industry darling for inhibiting melanosome transfer. It's known to have skin brightening properties, but did you know that phytic acid is just as important? Phytic acid works in a different way. It's a chelating antioxidant, so it binds to iron, and that inhibits the melanin formation. So it interferes nearly as effectively as a tyrosinase inhibitor, but it stops it, which is really cool. So phytic acid is a fantastic, it's actually an alpha hydroxy acid, but it's a really, really cool one, especially in the fight against hyperpigmentation. So those key ingredients are especially effective, and the formulation itself is fantastic to reduce inflammation, reduce redness, both which are the gateway to hyperpigmentation. But all of that to say, it's also hydroquinone free. Fantastic. Easy, easy product. Next, we have the Glybrite pads. So these pads are fantastic in and out of the treatment room. So in the treatment room, one of the best, coolest ways to use this is as a prep in chemical peeling or any other exfoliation step that you perform. It's a great way to introduce these brightening agents and these botanicals to help start the process of regeneration and brightening. And then, of course, at home, they just continue to not only correct hyperpigmentation, but prevent at the same time. We have a few key ingredients here. The 10% glycolic acid is fantastic because of its small molecular structure. It encourages turnover. So if we're turning over, we're going to really disclaim or slough off any stain cells, any of the keratinized cells that have hyperpigmentation. And then, of course, kojic acid, which is a powerful skin brightening. It's been known for a long time. It works by inhibiting tyrosinase and then also decreases melanocyte activity. So it slows things down, which is a really important consideration when we're thinking of the opposite. When it's initiated, it's hyper. So it's speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. So two-part here, not only does it inhibit tyrosinase, but then it slows down the production of it all in all. And then as an antioxidant, this is why antioxidants are so key when we're thinking of hyperpigmentation. As an antioxidant, it supports keratinocytes. So they're not as quick to call melanin into action, which is key. And then we have L-carnitine, which is fantastic for boosting cellular energy. And so this helps to keep things moving at a cadence of such that the entire skin is working efficiently. And if the skin is working efficiently, it's not, again, calling melanin into action. And of course, we have licorice extract, alpha-arbutin, uva ursi, or bearberry, which are all well-known and effective skin brightening botanicals. Luminolactic C is a very effective product also. This is a twofer, if you will. This is going to provide illuminating defense. It's going to brighten the skin, hydrating the skin, and also encouraging skin repair. Love this, especially effective as a maintenance product for melasma. So when we think about how melasma is called into play, this will help not just pause on melasma, but prevent any future. So when you are treating your clients with specifically melasma, this is a must-have home care product. The best thing about it is it's hydroquinone free. One of the key ingredients here is we have diacetylbondine, and this, also referred to as DAB, has two actions to it. One, it stabilizes and inhibits tyrosinase. So by stabilizing and inhibiting, the melanogenesis slows down or pauses. Because we don't want to stop it altogether, which is what hydroquinone can do. We don't want to stop the process because it's a natural protective mechanism. We just only want to call it into play if we absolutely need it. This is the lactic part of this ingredient, is the 10 of this formulation is 10% lactic acid. And of course, we all know lactic acid is very effective for brightening, but also as an alpha hydroxy acid encourages cell turnover. And then we have 15% L-ascorbic acid in this product. 15% is a super, super important number. This shows exactly how effective this is. So this is the C part of the name of the product. As I mentioned previously, L-ascorbic is the most biologically available form of vitamin C in the skin. And that means the skin doesn't have to convert it as many times, so it's going to be more effective. Now listen, I love other forms of vitamin C equally, but if you want to get in and get it done, the L-ascorbic is the hero for that, especially when we're talking about illuminating, which is the Lumi part of this one. And then we also have a mix of other botanical brighteners in here. All in all, this product is very, very effective for brightening the skin, but also addressing skin texture and then supporting the defense of the skin, the natural defenses. And if the defenses are fortified, then it's not going to have as much of a response. Now, I know that Julia mentioned a 15% off, so I want you guys to write this down, circle even tone, exclamation even tone. This is one of the most effective products ever. So some of you saw me, my a video of me in the initial part. Just think about a quick question. I want to know who can guess my Fitzpatrick number. While you're guessing what may or may not be my Fitzpatrick number, I'll pause at the end of this section so we can get the answer to it. I want to share that I am higher than you probably think. Also, I have melasma. I have hormonally induced melasma. On top of all that, I'm going to be honest with you. I had a blast in my 20s and 30s. I was having fun in the sun, and I encourage my clients to do the same because we'll fix it. Well, I wasn't really prepared for the consequence. And now that I'm in my, we'll just call them mid to late 40s, I'm seeing all that fun in the sun. This product has been so effective for me. This is why I want you to circle, exclamation, all of that. I love this product. The reason I love this product so much is because it has tranexamic acid. Tranexamic acid is very effective for hyperpigmentation, first and foremost, because it has an antiplasmin effect. That antiplasmin effect means when keratinocytes feel like they're going to be vulnerable, they get into a frenzy. You can imagine it being like, oh my gosh, that would be a plasmin effect. So because of the anti-plasmin effect, it's almost like, hey, it's calming. It's serene music playing in the background so that nobody gets worked up. This also stops the melanin formation. So it's like it hits at a few different spots in the melanin production process. But tranexamic acid is shown to have the same efficacy, if not greater, than hydroquinone percent for percent, like by volume. So when we're looking at this product particularly, it's comparable to a 6% or more hydroquinone cream, but it's none of the consequences. So tranexamic acid is one of my all-time favorite ingredients for hyperpigmentation. And then this formulation has it in such a way that makes it even more effective. One of those contributing ingredients is glutathione. Glutathione for so many reasons, but particularly it interferes with melanin synthesis pathways. So it's great to stop it like a security guard or a bouncer at the club. He's making sure that only those who are supposed to be there are getting in. The other thing that's really cool about glutathione is that recharges other antioxidants. So like a hype man for other antioxidants. It makes everybody more efficient and work harder. Of course, niacinamide, as previously mentioned, we all know that niacinamide is fantastic for skin brightening because it inhibits the transfer to keratinocytes. And then quercetin. Quercetin is super anti-inflammatory, and by reducing the opportunity for inflammation, we stop the initiation. And then it's also a tyrosinase inhibitor. We'll hear more about quercetin, of course, as we go on through this, but specifically in this formulation, looking at all of them together, the best of friends that are just like the winning team here for hyperpigmentation. This is a great pre-product for prepping your clients for chemical peel series, for dermaplane, excuse me, I said dermaplane, but I meant microneedling or any advanced treatments. This is a must-have product for that. And then also to continue after. The reconstructive brightening cream is also unique because it will not only inhibit hyperpigmentation, but it also addresses textural concerns. So we can think of this as the perfect product for post pockmarks from acne scarring or textural issues like, let's say, maybe glycation. So the reconstructive brightening cream is fantastic for not only suppressing melanin or inhibiting melanin, but really addressing skin laxity at the same time, skin laxity or textural irregularities. The key ingredients here is we have caprol tetrapeptide 3, which helps to stimulate the production of key components of the collagen, essentially, specifically collagen 7 and laminin. Those both are great for encouraging cell adhesion, migration, differentiation. All of that to say is stimulating the production in a very, very efficient way. And then we have Rumex occidentalis, which helps to restrict the production of melanin. Very similar efficacy to hydroquinone with none of the consequences. And then we have Helvetia canalicuta extract. And this helps to protect against DNA deterioration. So again, protecting the skin, not like a growth factor, but very similar. And then we have RH, oligopeptide 1, which does have epidermal growth factors. So it's promoting proliferation of epidermal cells, accelerating the skin repair process. That being said, I told you I would share my video. You can guess my Fitzpatrick. So if you can guess my Fitzpatrick, do we have any guesses? My Fitzpatrick is really, I'm a 4, which people don't usually guess. They usually say 2 or 3. So just something to consider, especially with your clients, is never guess. The test. The test is going to be key for that. All right, let's move on to the next skin condition, which is going to be glycation. Honestly, this is one of my favorite subjects at the moment, glycation and of course menopause. Stay tuned, we've got an amazing menopause presentation coming. But glycation specifically, and that's because we don't really talk about it enough. We touch on it in school, but that's not the rest of the story. So if we want to think about glycation, well, you know that excess sugars in the body will go after structural proteins. And so an analogy would be the mortar in a brick wall, here we see in the background, weakening. And then what happens? And what happens is the bricks come tumbling down. The bricks come tumbling down because they're not structurally supported. So this is basically the same thing that's happening in the skin. Is the mortar that holds everything together, or collagen and elastin, has become brittle because of this age's advanced glycation end product. So what we have to consider, it's different from just aging. We really need to be able to support the synthesis, the production, and then the integrity of those elements. So when we're looking at glycation specifically, we have to think about it not just as a single product, not the same as we think of as aging, but the process of it. So let's think about that from here. This is a great example of glycation because we see the striations or the wrinkles from movement or motion going this way, and then we see the consequences of glycation this way. So this is where the structure has basically said, crumbled. We're done. So the very first thing we need to think of with glycation is the skin structure has been weakened. It's been weakened. Oh no. That leads to premature aging because the skin's ability to repair itself has been interfered with. So it's harder to recover from things like dryness, like acne, like any kind of other damage. And then on top of all of that, the skin isn't working efficiently, so there's an opportunity for compromised skin barrier or inflammation. So we have to think about all of those things happening in the skin when we're going to address glycation specifically. A little bit different than aging. So let's talk about that in the form of the product formulations. The first we have correctly named the Ages Repair Cream. So when we're going after those advanced glycation in products, what a better thing than something exactly formulated. This product was designed to combat multiple levels of aging and protect the skin against that brittling, that degradation part. And it does it in a few different ways. First, it boosts the regeneration of collagen and it encourages skin defenses. One key ingredient for that is L-lysine. So L-lysine is actually a precursor for L-lysine, and this is what starts collagen synthesis. And of course, the collagen synthesis is essential for that structural component. Not only do we want to build the scaffolding, but we want to keep it pliable and flexible, because if it's flexible, it won't break. This is that ingredient. And then, of course, melanin, recognizing that the skin's defenses are compromised, can come in and take over, is glycated skin. That's why we see that in advanced, we'll call it aging for now, but that's why we see that in aging skin. But it's not just because of a chronological age, it's because something has happened internally to create, basically the defenses are down. So phytic acid, again, remember this is a chelating antioxidant that helps to inhibit hyperpigmentation. Then we have lecithin, which is multi-beneficial, but it helps to absorb other ingredients. So it's the pass into the skin. Pyrus malis, which is a polyphenolic antioxidant. So that means it's going to have multiple phenols into it and have antioxidant value, which is going to go after a diverse range of people that are, I say people, but you know what I mean, of attacking agents of these free radicals, which is important because there's not just one type of free radical, there's many. And that's why we have lots of scavenger fighting protectors in formulations, because there's not just one type of antioxidant either. That's key. And then we have dipeptide, diaminobutyryl, benzolamide diacetate. And so this is not only fun to say, but it's actually a tripeptide. This tripeptide is one that easily penetrates the skin and softens wrinkles caused by facial movement. So it keeps that skin flexible. That's the Ages Repair Cream. So this is one of the easiest products to recommend for home care for those who have glycation. And it's important because this is preparing the skin to receive microneedling, chemical peels, or other advanced treatments that are going to help encourage additional collagen synthesis. So this is a preparatory product, very important. You'll also notice that this is creamy. Obviously, it's cream. But when you put it on, I don't know if any of you guys are in the same age bracket, but it really from 35 on, you'll start to see this invisible change in the skin almost immediately from the first application. So explaining that to your clients, it doesn't have any sensitizing opportunity. It's really, really, really nice. And I say that because you don't have to worry. Nobody's looking at you, but raise your hand if you drink those yummy sugary coffees from like Dutch Brothers, or if you like a margarita, or do you like chips? All of those are opportunity for glycation because those are, just part of our lifestyle, even wine, but it's creating excess sugar in the body. So we're all really at risk for glycation, something we need to speak more about. Next, we have copper ice pads. So the copper ice pads are fantastic, a really nice product post chemical peel or as a take home for those who are worried about glycation. And the reason that this is so important, or this formulation is so key in the fight against glycation, is that it has these bioprotective properties. And one of them is that it encourages cell communication. So with more communication, the skin is able to efficiently send messages back and forth of exactly what it needs. It also accelerates the rejuvenation properties of the skin. So it's able to repair better. So when it's repairing better, it's encouraging, it's limiting the opportunity for the sugars to bind and become brittle. One of the key parts of this is copper, and it helps to increase collagen and elastin production, which is key. So we're replacing it even if it's getting damaged. So don't worry, you don't have to skip happy hour, you don't have to skip those yummy coffees or even chips. You can still have that and function. We'll have a solution for you. So let's talk about the key ingredients in this. The first one is copper gluconate. So you'll see this in a few different ClearChoice products. Let's start here. Copper gluconate is a powerful antioxidant that stimulates fibroblasts and healthy collagen. And it also inhibits the matrix metalloproteinase enzyme destruction. So it not only fortifies and encourages production, but it pauses any destruction, which is awesome. Then we have pseudoalteromonas ferment extract. So these are glycoproteins to help to protect, restructure, and promote cell proliferation for regeneration. So what happens really after we're born, our skin is producing at a rate which is very, very fast. And we know this. We've We learn this in school, we see it in our own bodies, but there are a few key ages where that metabolism or the cell turnover really, really slows. All of a sudden, you're imagine like it's the skin cells walking down the street, and then it trips. And that's kind of what it feels like. So this helps to get that proliferation back to a regular cadence without tripping. Agiline is very, very beautiful ingredient to help with sensitivity or sensitized skin. And it helps to encourage moisture balance in the skin. So moisture balance and redness or anti-inflammatory properties really helps to fortify the barrier function. And we have superoxide dismutase or SOD. This is a key antioxidant, a protector, if you will, that specifically fights against damage caused by UV radiation, pollution, or the environment. And this one is a fun one to say, but I like the common name better, but it's Polygonum aviculare extract or knot grass. So this inhibits the enzyme that is involved in photoaging, which is key because it used to be that we were just under attack, if you will, inside, but now we have even, I'm sorry, outside with UV, but now inside we have HEV. It may be your device that you're sitting in front of. It may be the LED loop lamp that you have, or it even could be the LED overhead lights. It's something new in the last 10, 15 years, but it's something that could be really bad. So, or destructive. So really important to have ingredients like this that help to protect. Now we have the cream form of the copper ice pads, and that's the copper ice cream. Very similar, it's just a cream form. So this would be for more dry circumstances or perhaps skin that needs more communication. So it really helps to protect against oxidation, great for all skin types. And for those who live in extreme weather conditions, whether it's super humid and then super dry, or in Colorado where I'm at, it's 60s this week, but last week it was in the 10s. This is perfect for those types of fluctuations or for those who even travel quite a bit. So if you have any clients who are flight, I don't know, air hostesses, I don't know what the new word is, but flight attendants, this is a really nice cream for them, especially. Very similar ingredients. We see here though ferulic acid. Ferulic acid is great, especially when we're considering glycation, because it helps to prevent collagen breakdown. And as it's preventing it, it also induces the production. So it's really nice, fantastic in the fight against glycation. Next, we have the DNA pads. These are really awesome after a dermaplane, after microneedling, depending on the depth of penetration that you use. But these are all fantastic for post. What I love about these pads specifically is they activate your skin's natural repair function. So if you're activating the skin's natural repair function, think of it like working out, something not too strenuous, but definitely keeping the body in shape so that it's ready. I'm not saying to go run or anything, but it's ready. It's healthier. It recovers faster. So these are almost like a workout for the skin. What they do particularly is help to boost collagen production and the natural skin repair. And it's a good pre-treatment even for chemical peels and advanced procedures in a home care routine because it's strengthening the skin to receive that marathon treatment. We have two types of vitamin A here. We have retinol and retinol palmitate, which is key because that means, oh, let me rewind. But the retinol that we have is something called drone technology. Drone technology is really cool because it literally will send, it bypasses the lipid barrier. So it doesn't cause destruction in the skin. It encourages it to go right past and where it needs to go. So now we don't have as many conversion opportunities or destructive path ahead of it. I love this ingredient particularly. So drone technology in a retinol and a retinol palmitate. So that means that translates to limited inflammation in your client's skin. Limited inflammation, but maximum benefit. And we have L-lysine and tripeptide 9. These are great specifically for encouraging cell proliferation, encouraging rejuvenation, tissue repair, and eliminating glycation from advanced glycation in products. Fantastic. And caprol tetrapeptide 3, again, stimulates the production of those key components, the collagen 7, laminin 5, and fibronectin. And Leontopodium alpinium extract. This is a fantastic antioxidant that really calms the skin, really, really calms. And then it also inhibits the endogenous hyaluronic acid reservoir in your skin. So it's very, very nice. And then Pariah cocos. This can attract and promote collagen accumulation, which is not just producing it, but accumulating it. This translates the specific ingredient. It's a really, really cool ingredient. What it translates to is stronger, tighter skin. Imagine a brand new trampoline. It's just real, real bouncy, nice, nice. That's what I want my skin to look like. And then we have the Matrix Repair Serum. This is a clear, like jelly. I don't want to say jelly, but it's like a clear serum-y consistency. I love this product, not only for glycation, not only for hyperpigmentation, but even like once a week to encourage just tightening everything up. You can also use this post-treatment, post-facial. You can incorporate it into other modalities as well. This product increases the synthesis of dermal matrix molecules, which is very, very important for youthful functioning skin. So it gets it back to that nice cadence, the nice bounce, all of that. We have palmitoyl tetrapeptide 7, which is great for stimulating collagen production and elasticity and firmness in the skin. Palmitoyl tetrapeptide 3, which works with palmitoyl tetrapeptide 7 in synergy to be anti-inflammatory while stimulating collagen. Really, really nice. And then we have Centella asiatica. This is also referred to as Sika or Sika, but it's Indian pennywort or tiger grass. This one right here. This is one of the most powerful botanical agents for collagen synthesis. It's a wonder ingredient. So when you're pairing it here with these other ingredients, this is really, really effective for that matrix, the skin matrix. But the way that it works is it encourages collagen synthesis and promotes skin regeneration and repair. So if you're preparing the skin for any treatments, or if you're, I don't want to say recovering, but in the post-treatment model, this is going to be a fantastic serum for that. The reason it's called tiger grass is because tigers would get in fights, and you can imagine the claws come out and they're scraping and scratching skin, and they're noticed at the time, this is in Southeast Asia, they noticed that the tigers would then roll in this grass, in the tiger grass, Indian pennywort. And what was interesting about that stories particularly is that the tigers knew that this compound or this botanical would help with the skin regeneration products. So then, of course, humankind started taking notice and creating all kinds of different salves and primal concoctions, if you will. And then now, of course, we know in advanced science that this is the terpene content of this wonder ingredient. So thanks for letting me get off on that one for a little bit. I love that one. Then we have jasminoids, stem cells, again, protecting the extracellular matrix from collagen degradation. This is a really important one when we were talking about HEV, or the blue light from our screens, from our phones, from our overhead lights, especially for us in the treatment room as professionals, because we have it everywhere, over and over all day. And then D-panthenate, or vitamin B5, great for promoting lipid synthesis, epidermal differentiation, and the re-epithelialization of damaged skin. That's why this product particular is great post treatment to prepare the skin so it's the strongest it can be, and immediately post. This is another one you're going to want to circle. Then one that you're going to want to circle, exclamation point, is my other favorite of the 9 favorites I have. The Vita CB5 complex. This is a power product. This is a power product. I love this. So the Vita CB5 is going to have vitamin C and B5. I mean, just like the name says, but it is a little more complex than that. What we can expect from this formulation is an improved skin tone, texture, and health, which is the key here. It's going to be very anti-inflammatory, and it's also going to have an element of skin brightening to it. Let's talk about why. So we have 15% L-ascorbic acid. Again, this is that biologically active form. So interesting because, not interesting, but as you know, this is the naturally occurring form in the skin. The L-ascorbic is one of the most researched forms in the professional dermatology field. And then, of course, studies demonstrate that that 15% concentration is the key for brightening and efficacy, which is great. Of course, there's updated studies too that show different amount, anywhere from 8 to 15%. But the fact that this has the 15 in it, and that's what's studied, is great. So D-panthenol is our next ingredient, and it's shown efficacy in treating many different things, especially compromised skin conditions like atopic dermatitis, and so on, acute flares, all of those things that really translate back to in compromised barrier function. So especially effective D-panthenol for post-procedural skin damage. Again, circle, exclamation, not only for post, but for pre, and to condition the skin so it's in the best shape possible. Fantastic. And the price point is, all of the prices on these products you'll see is very accessible, very, very accessible. And then we have DMAE, which is very important for skin tightening. And it does that by signaling mechanoreceptors in the sensory neurons. Very effective for also boosting other antioxidants. So when we think about L-ascorbic, which is an antioxidant, like the grand dame of antioxidants, and then we have D-panthenol, another antioxidant. This amplifies them, even coenzyme Q10. This amplifies them so they're all working that much more efficiently. We have L-carnosine, which is a dipeptide of amino acids. Very great for encouraging antioxidant activity, accelerates regeneration, and prevents glycation. So this is another one of those crossovers particularly. And then thioctic acid, or alpha lipoic acid, ALA. This is fantastic for supporting skin barrier function, lipid synthesis, and inhibiting the degradation of collagen, especially that caused by UV damage. So really an ingredient focused on skin health. The consequence, or I guess the benefit, is that it helps with tightening of the skin. So if we have larger pores, if we have those fine lines that are starting, these is a great ingredient for that. So again, circle, exclamation point on this one. And then we all know coenzyme Q10 is a powerful antioxidant that encourages our pools, or the reservoirs of CoQ10 levels in our own skin. So really great for encouraging cell function, cell energy production, and then improved oxygen and nutrient supply. That is the food, literally the breath of the skin, which is key. Do we have any questions on hyperpigmentation or glycation before we move on? It looks like we do. So Ashley says, would even tone be good for a pre-peel care for a darker Fitzpatrick? Yes, absolutely. So even tone is the product. That's why I want you to circle, exclamation point, that one. It's very, very important. It's almost a non-negotiable for those higher Fitzpatricks. And then when you see the price, you'll see it's very, very accessible, especially for all that's in it. So that's a good question. Are there any other questions before we move on about glycation or hyperpigmentation? And if you think of one later, that's totally fine. Great. So now let's talk about rosacea. So rosacea is interesting because it's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable. Really, what we have to be sure of when we're addressing rosacea is that we are thinking of the consequences of rosacea and how that presents in the skin while also not triggering any kind of response. It's a very interesting condition specifically because they really don't know. They really have no idea what the exact cause is. A lot of advances, especially in the last 5 years, particularly in trying to find that out, and they get closer and closer and closer and closer to understanding what could be the cause. For a while, it was thought to be exclusively Demodex mites. It was thought exclusively just to be an external condition. It was thought, that it's just a sensitized issue. But more and more, they're seeing it could potentially be linked back, especially to something going on in the gut. In a little fun fact is what was happening, I guess it was around 2020. Everybody was at home and they were looking things up. It was a very important time in the progression of understanding this disorder specifically because this organization was able to take search engine queries from all over the world and see what were they searching for comorbidities or what else could be going on. And they were like, oh, is it related to depression? Is it related to food sensitivity? It's really cool because people were, WebMDing their own stuff or Googling, I have this and I have this. Is this causing my rosacea? And then there's this twin festival. I think it's Twinsville, Ohio or something. And for the last about 10 years, they've been doing research on twins to find, is this genetic? Is this environmental? What's going on? So it's a really key, really great condition. But for us as skincare practitioners, when the medical doctors are just throwing their hands up going, I don't know, not really sure exactly what's going on, it does make it a little harder. But there's a few things that we know for sure. One is that we're really managing the symptoms. We're not treating rosacea, we're managing the symptoms. At the same time, preventing triggers. So that means as practitioners, we have to do kind of a lot. I've had rosacea clients who were triggered by the most gentle, innocuous thing like water, and others who are like great with a glycolic acid. So the one thing I want to point out is I, for some reason, have quite a few rosacea clients. And in using ClearChoice, I've seen a huge difference in their skin strength, which is key for when they're having those internal flare-ups. What's happened is their skin recovers a lot better. So this is what I've noticed. I've noticed that with different triggers, like menopause especially, it seems that menopause is a huge trigger for rosacea, where it was previously thought, oh, it's just because it's a progressive disorder. It's my observation that it's not necessarily progressive disorder as much as the triggers progress. So interesting with hormone fluctuations. Some other key things that trigger it are extreme weather changes. So in the fall and in the spring, I see a lot more rosacea presentations than I do just in the summer or just in the winter. Also, of course, food especially has a direct correlation, as is alcohol. Unfortunately, it's usually like lactose-based food or spicy food. But these are key important considerations to consider during consultation as a skincare professional. Just asking these questions, not because we're nosy, just because we're gathering the information. And then understanding also where they're at, because the rosacea does graduate in intensity from just a flushing, like a pinking of the skin, to the papulopustular. The interesting part about rosacea is it can be both oily and dry at the same time, which is hard because as we see this maybe residual skin cells and we could feel the texture of the skin, we're thinking, oh, we're going to do it this way, but really it's a response. And the response is just the skin trying to build its fortress up because it's thinking, I don't know what's going on, I just need to protect myself. So this goes back to the Demodex mites in that there is a correlation that there is a higher percentage of them in the skin, but it's not necessarily that the rosacea is caused by the mites. It's that the rosacea symptoms have created a buffet for the mites to gorge and then multiply on. So the Demodex mites are on everybody's skin. Creepy, I know, but they feed on excess oil and extra skin cells. So with this condition, what happens is the skin goes into hyperproliferation. So skin cells start producing more, and oil sebocytes start producing more, and that's all the skin's response to, like, I got to do something to help, so I'm going to build it up. And that's um, just like a buffet for the Demodex mite. So keep that in mind, especially because we want to help do something in the skin, but what is that going to be? We do have some professional products which are phenomenal for rosacea, incredibly effective, which this is the retail side of things. So I do want you to write down the green tea glycolic peel. And then we have the sensitive cream peel. We have alpha jewel, and we have the brightening beetroot. All four of those are very effective treatments for all rosacea. So let's get into the products. Hydrating cleanser is going to be key because it's going to help cleanse the skin and support the skin barrier, which is important when we're looking at rosacea specifically. We have a few different ingredients in here, but let's focus on two key. So the two key is D-panthenol or vitamin B5 and the L-ascorbic. So both of those together fortifying the skin while it's cleansing and hydrating. Really important. Great for rosacea and barrier compromised. Next, we have Iso Moisture. This is important because it helps to promote cellular strengthening and communication in the skin. There's another ingredient in here that helps with dermal sensory correction. So dermal sensory correction is kind of like when you're, you've ever heard the phrase standing on ready? Like when your skin is standing on ready, it's ready to go at any time. It's going to hear something go, or you're getting ready for a race and you're just waiting for them to, to sound the alarm that you can start. A lot of times our bodies, especially nowadays, are sitting on ready. And when they're sitting on ready, they're ready and their defenses are ready to go. So any little perceived start mark is going to call into like that adrenaline rush, if you will. Our skin is no different. It's cool, like great if you're going to run from a tiger or you're being chased or you're trying to win a race. Fantastic. But as far as every day, the consequence is that any tiny little trigger that comes into the path can initiate a bigger response than is necessary. So let's look at rosacea with that particularly, is it's already sitting on ready for anything. So we want to fortify it against having to be too reactive. Dermal sensory correction is key for that. We also find dermal sensory correction in even tone, by the way. So we're looking at this formula. Particularly, we're going to imagine it kind of like a Valium for the skin at the same time it's hydrating. The first key ingredients where it's getting the name from is soy isoflavonoids. This is fantastic for preventing hyperpigmentation, but also enhances skin hydration. So the skin hydration is key, especially for a rosacea, because it has to have the right amount. It has to have the right amount so it can send a message that says, stop hyperproliferating. Stop hyperproliferating. The other message that sends is like, let's strengthen the barrier. So those are two key messages being sent by the isoflavonoids. And then with rosacea, of course, it's actually a condition that affects all Fitzpatrick types, even though previously it was only thought to affect the lower Fitzpatricks. We know that it affects all Fitzpatrick types because science is advanced. What happens when the skin is inflamed? The defenses of hyperpigmentation come in, and voila. So soy isoflavonoids to help prevent hyperpigmentation as a consequence of rosacea is key. And then we have green tea extract. This is a powerful polyphenol. It's great because it has anti-androgenic and anti-inflammatory benefits. So this helps to encourage wound healing in the skin. Normally, when we think about wound healing, it's just it normalizes that proliferation that I was talking about. And then ginseng, it promotes skin cell regeneration and oxygenation. So great for nutrient delivery in the skin. Grapeseed extract encourages the skin rejuvenation process, minimizes cellular fatigue, and provides lipid matrix support. So fantastic for encouraging the barrier function. So for fortifying the barrier function, it's going to lessen the consequences of the rosacea flare. And sunflower seed, which also fortifies the skin barrier, prevents cellular destruction. Because with all this inflammation in the skin caused by rosacea, it's going to have so many effects, including advancing things like glycation or hyperpigmentation, which we just spoke about. And then sesame seed oil. Sesame seed oil is really cool because it has trace amounts of zinc in it. And what do we think of when we think of zinc besides sunscreen? We think of zinc when we think of immunity. When we're sick, we might take Zicam, or we might take another vitamin that has zinc in it because it supports the body's immune system. Same thing in the skin. Zinc, which is in all of our beloved SPF products, is also great for skin immunity, which is fantastic when we're looking at something like rosacea. Looks like we have a question. Oh, so Nadira is asking what kind of finish, matte or dewy, etc. It's a little heavier moisturizer than just a light one, but it absorbs into the skin really lovely. So it's going to depend on that. So when you think of the rosacea skin, if it's hot, it's going to absorb really, really lovely. The other answer to this question is going to be, where do you live in the country? So I'm in Colorado, very dry. This just feels like a serum here, but I think we have 2 moisture molecules in the whole state and we're all fighting over it. So it's a lovely finish though, not too heavy. With this, what you'll find with all ClearChoice products is they're very concentrated. So less is more. If we think back to the cleansers, they last forever. It's like one pump. This, honestly, 2 pumps of this is key. And you've got plenty for your face, neck, décolleté. And I even do the tops of my shoulders. If it's not enough, you can also add a couple more. So think of that. But great question. Thank you so much for asking. All right, next we have Advanced K. I mean, this is pretty much developed specifically for 2 things. In the rosacea, this is one of the best ingredients for rosacea, especially because of the capillary distension that happens with rosacea. It's very effective for calming it, to soothe the skin, but it's also fantastic post-injection. So if you have clients who are getting Botox fillers, this is great to support pre-appointment or post-appointment if they do get a bruise, because it happens. There are 2 key ingredients in there: phytonadione, or vitamin K. And what happens here is this helps to expedite the healing of the damaged tissue. And the damaged tissue includes bruising. So the way that it helps with bruising specifically is it encourages the metabolism of the pooled blood. And it helps to repair broken capillaries and then strengthen vein structure, because it was originally thought to be a venous disorder. They thought it was like weakened capillary walls and that was rosacea. That's not the case, but there's this distension and then the tightening of the veins. And so basically, long story short, they just get stretched out, and they get stretched out, and that's why they're distended, like telangiectasia. So the key is to keep them really soft, pliable, and able to shrink back, retract. And then squalane. Squalane is so good to encourage skin hydration and hold it there. So it draws moisture in and holds it there. When we think of things like going to the hospital, no matter what the condition is that you're going for, one of the first things that happens if you're in that situation is they give you an IV. It doesn't matter if your bone is broken, If you have a high fever, if you've got something else going on, one of the first course of treatments is an IV. And that's because your cells need it to function properly. They need to be hydrated to repair. Very, very important in the skin, as well as that it needs that water hydration to repair. So squalane really helps with that. And the benefit is it also helps as an antioxidant and prevents collagen degradation. So on that note, let's talk about intense moisture. So this is 100% pure squalane. And what it does is retains the moisture in the skin, and that helps everything communicate that better. It prevents against moisture loss, restores skin suppleness, provides a protective barrier, and carries oxygen throughout the skin, which is fantastic because we need oxygenation, but not oxidation. One of the most powerful products that I have seen, particularly for rosacea, is this. This is Skin Rehab. And it wasn't me that coined this, it was my colleague Bella. She said, this is like Gatorade for the skin. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. It's a really good one because it helps to deliver exactly what the skin needs and to replenish it. So this is a fast absorbing but deep hydration cream for barrier protection. It's great for post-ablative treatments, including post-laser, even after dermaplane. And if we think about that, post-ablative, the skin is angry. It's very, very angry. And compare that to rosacea. It's going to help calm it. So though this is originally formulated for post-procedure, it's amazing in restoring the skin barrier for and fortifying the skin barrier for rosacea. Has cocoa nucleifera or coconut water. So the coconut water is fantastic because of the electrolyte components there. Really great to encourage function, especially collagen synthesis, but also elasticity. And then Olea europaea squalane. And then we have avocado oil, which is an oleic acid to help hydrate the skin. Oleic acids or alpha lipoic acids are key because they're going to mimic or communicate with your body's natural sebum better. That's what they're calling them, essential fatty acids, really key. Pyrus malis, that's going to encourage skin restoration. And then we have watermelon seed oil. This gives deep hydration, but also signals, because it's really, really close to natural sebum, it signals balance in the skin. So rosacea particularly, we have like oily dry at the same time. This is very helpful for that because it slows the hyperproliferation of the sebocytes. And then Urban Shield. Urban Shield is such a cool product. This has zinc, 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 zinc. So fantastic for skin immunity. It has the ALA, which is going to help calm erythema, calm inflammation, calm irritation. It's hyaluronic acid, which of course we know is essential to hydrate skin cells. And then we have D-panthenol, vitamin B5, which very great for cell communication, fortifying the skin barrier. And we have alpha bisabol, which is monocyclic sesquiterpenes. So terpenes are incredibly effective. Terpenes are amongst my favorite category of ingredients, particularly because they have such a reparative quality for them. So the best way to think about terpenes, especially because of where they're sourced from, is to think of sap in a tree, because those are loaded with diterpenes, triterpenes, and sesquiterpenes. And the sap on a tree is meant to repair scarring of the tree bark or the tree's skin. So here we have a sesquiterpene, and not, this isn't sap, but I'm just saying the sesquiterpene has the similar function that it would in a plant or in a tree bark, in that it helps to repair the skin of that. And it helps to repair so that no malefic or harmful things get into that scar. So fantastic here. It also is very anti-inflammatory properties to it. And then dexpanthenol is important because it helps to encourage reepithelialization of compromised skin. So the message that this sends, oh, by the way, this is green color. So if we remember on the color wheel, green is opposite of what? Red. So rosacea, red. So this helps to conceal it while encouraging natural healing of the skin. It's a really cool product. Very, very effective for your rosacea clients. This is a must-have at home. Do we have any questions on rosacea and ClearChoice? Great. Fantastic. Great. Well, let's move on to a condition, acne vulgaris. You'll notice that we're not just calling this acne, but we're calling it acne vulgaris because there are many types of acne. Bonus if you can tell me a few other kinds. Uh, but acne vulgaris particularly is the most common. And that's why the industry really will focus on this one in particular. This is what we see when we're talking about blackheads and whiteheads and the irritation. But this is a chronic skin condition that occurs when hair follicles become clogged. These are my favorite videos to watch on social media. Tell me I'm not alone in this because I love it. Different though. So basically, we have a buildup of skin cells and oil cells, if you will, or oil in the hair follicle. That's a blackhead or a whitehead, depending on if it's open or closed. Sometimes we'll get bacteria in there, and that's when we get a pustule. Really important to understand that versus other causes. So the original cause here is a buildup in the follicle. Different than, let's say, another induced one. So when we, the skin therapists or the estheticians, are thinking about approaches, there's three things that we have to do. First, we have to balance sebum production so it's not getting stuck in the follicle. Next, we have to repair and support the skin's microbiome. We do that so the oil isn't called into over or under produce, because if the skin's microbiome is balanced, it's not signaling sebaceous gland to over or under produce, which is key. It also keeps the bacteria in balance so we don't have an overproduction of a certain type. It used to be called P. acnes. Now they're calling it C. acnes or Cutibacterium. Cutie, I don't think so, but whatever. And then we have to encourage skin exfoliation so that skin cells aren't getting stuck in the follicle, or they're not growing over the pore so that it's not allowing these to get out, because you don't want to entrap everything in there. So this is a three-step approach we're going to take with acne vulgaris specifically. So the first step here is going to be a good cleanse. The cleanse that we want to have with acne vulgaris is not going to strip the skin, which I think a lot of cleansers, especially for acne, do, is they want to be just stripping the skin of the oil. And this you'll find from a lot of, I shouldn't say all over the counter, but you might have this with your clients presenting, especially the younger clients. They think they're doing something good. They feel oily. They're going to their big box beauty stores or to the pharmacy, and they're picking out well-intended products, but they're using it in a way that's actually making things worse. So enter in mandelic acid cleanser. It's really great because it's going to cleanse, calm, and clear. It's going to do that a few different ways. First, we have mandelic acid. So mandelic acid is a big old alpha hydroxy acid. It's a large chain, so it's going to sit in the skin a little higher up because it's so big. And because of that, you're going to have initiation of desquamation or cell exfoliation, but not inflammation. It's not going to go too much. Then we have papaya enzyme. So as we're softening those outer layers, we're then digesting with its proteolytic enzymes. Then we have turmeric in here, which is really great because it's calming. A lot of what's happening with acne too is that it's inflamed. So this will help that. And then we have silk amino acids. Silk amino acids are going to be great because they're going to have a water binding property, because the skin oftentimes is oil heavy but water light. Encouraging balance in that is going to help not only you, the practitioner, with ease of extractions, but also it's going to help the client clear their skin up better. So this is a fantastic cleanser for many things, but especially acne vulgaris. Next, we have Clear Balance pads. So the Clear Balance pads are fantastic as a weekly treatment, if you will. These little pads, these little discs, they help to control excess sebum production. They help to repair and protect the skin microbiome or acid mantle, and they help to break up the clogged pores or the comedones and then any acne lesions. It is formulated with 2% lactic acid, which will be great not to just free the pores, but it penetrates and then dissolves excess oil. Because it is 2%, it's gentle yet. So you could use these up to daily, but every other day is probably the best recommendation. His chamomile, which is antimicrobial, important for the C bacteria. It also has skin brightening properties to it as well. And then we have green tea leaf extract, which stimulates collagen production. So why is collagen production and elasticity important when we're talking about acne? It's important because if the skin is pliable, we're able to do extractions without causing damage. And then if the acne is such where it's been so inflammatory that it's caused textural interruptions in the dermis, the collagen helps to restore that and fight against like acne scarring. So very, very important, yet not talked about enough. And then finally, we have sodium hyaluronate. I should say finally in the key ingredients, because there's a lot more to this formula. But in the key ingredients, we have sodium hyaluronate, which encourages skin hydration, again, restoring balance. Our BP 8% helps to control the skin. So key ingredient here is benzoyl peroxide. It's 8%. This is a cycle product. This is not that they would be on for long. It's when they have those eruptions or the inflammatory acne, when it's progressed from acne vulgaris to inflammatory acne vulgaris. This is a very effective topical gel for that. It's green tea, leaf extract, chamomile, and then that cica or centella asiatica extract. So not only is it, it's really going after at this point, the bacteria. So this is those Mount Vesuvius, the volcanoes, the mirror squirters, as I like to call them. That's great for here. Another great product for those is Clinical Spot. So Clinical Spot is very effective. Same thing, but it's a spot treatment. Fantastic for those occasional breakouts, the painful ones, the underground ones, as they used to call them when I was growing up. So it has a little bit of vitamin A, which helps with cell damage and collagen synthesis, a little bit of benzoyl peroxide, which helps kill the C or P acne bacteria. And then it has a blend of acids, glycolic, lactic, salicylic, and azelaic. This is key here too, because it's going to help to, it's going to help with killing the bacteria and encouraging the breakup or the dissolving of any impactions. And then beta-glucan, which helps encourage skin recovery, especially of damaged tissue. At the same time, it strengthens skin immunity. So this is another cycle product, or for those pesky pop-ups, pesky pop-ups that come up. We have Moisture Clear. This product is so good for those who have oily skin types, even especially T-zone. Think of this as hydrated and clear. It's a gel-based consistency, and it's intended to help create a barrier of protection while medicating, if you will, or clearing out the follicles. So we have 2% salicylic acid in here. We have cyanobalamin, which is vitamin B5. This helps to improve oxygen and nutrient supply, which in my opinion is something that is key for acne skin because it feels like it's so depleted. Feels like it just needs a good salad at the end of the day. But what it does in the skin is it reduces the expression of inflammatory markers. And so by reducing that, it encourages calming in the skin and then overall skin health. And then we have ergo calciferol, or vitamin D2. This helps to support skin immunity and barrier function. And then azulene, which reduces redness and sensitivity. So when we think about this moisturizer for acne vulgaris, we know that this is going to be for those who are presenting oily. Really fantastic for that. Watch those that are on this and make sure that they have enough. A really good companion product would be our sodium hyaluronate, for this one. Then for protection, we have Sunshield Plus SPF 30. Has anyone, okay, there's a great debate for me in what our sunscreens smell like. First of all, they're amazing, and clients always comment on the scent experience of these. First of all. Second of all, they comment on how they feel on the skin. It feels so light, feels really protected, and it absorbs really well into the skin. This is the exact same for our Sunshield Plus product. But the debate is, what does it smell like to you? So the two that I usually get a lot is it's either cucumber or green banana peel. And so I'll ask you guys to see what you think and let us know. But this is meant to protect not just from UV, but HEV, which is important for those who have acne vulgaris because they're compromised. Their skin is compromised. We don't think of that so much. We're just kind of going after the acne, attacking it, but it needs to be supported on multiple levels. Key ingredients in here include zinc oxide, which provide physical protection, but also help with skin immunity. And then we have montmorillonite clay, which is lots of minerals, and it draws or absorbs excess oil production. Grapeseed extract, which is super antioxidant and encourages skin elasticity. And then green tea extract, very anti-inflammatory, and hyaluronic acid. So this is great for those who have oily acne skin. If they have dry acne skin, we might suggest Cover Shield would be another option, which we can get into later. And then finally, in the acne vulgaris category, we have the Volcanic Active Treatment, or VAT. So this is a creamy consistency, but it's a product intended really to absorb excess oil. So what you can consider with this one is the micronized flour of sulfur down here at the very bottom. This is so concentrated. It's from the sulfur-rich minerals that are found near volcanic areas, which is the name. And what this does in the skin is it draws oil, but also regulates sebum production, which is key. So that volcanic active treatment is great for at night, in the evening, or especially for T-zone. The next category that we're going to go over, first of all, does anybody have any questions in acne vulgaris? Okay, now we're going to talk about hormonal acne. This particularly is those painful cyst-like. This is not necessarily just from a clogged pore, but this is oftentimes hormones, menstrual cycle, PCOS, stress, dietary triggers, and even in some medication. So it's usually, as I mentioned before, on the chin, the jawline, even the neck. And these are the cystic ones, the painful ones. Sometimes they come to a head, sometimes they just hurt. And then they can worsen in intensity over specific time. So what we have is a specific kit called the Resist Rewind Hormonal System. What's good about this system, it comes in a box set here, as you'll see. We're going to go through each product individually, but it's intended for those who are suffering from two blows. One, the cystic acne, and two, chronological age problems. So you'll see a crossover with some of these. Again, these are cycle products, not intended to stay on forever, but just be introduced during those deep reactive times. The first is the Resist Rewind Cleanser. The key ingredients in this is benzoyl peroxide and mandelic acid. So we have the bacteria and the AHA combination here. We also have silk amino acids, which is going to stimulate collagen production, but also draw water moisture into the skin. This is important for this specific type of acne because those big pustular volcano style pimples, or that may or may not come to a head, are moving the dermis out of the way and creating pocking or textural issues. So this is key for that, is to strengthen the collagen or have the collagen be a consideration absolutely during that time. Next, we have the Resist Rewind Treatment Solution. So this has silk amino acids, which stimulate collagen production, mandelic acid, which is not just antimicrobial, but skin brightening, and alpha hydroxy acid benefits. And then we have ferulic acid. Ferulic acid is great for preventing cell damage and encouraging skin firmness and elasticity. Then there's two that we talked about previous, but it's palmitoyl oligopeptide and palmitoyl tetrapeptide 7. These encourage collagen synthesis, skin repair, dermal density, and then protection from degradation, inflammation, and encouraging collagen regeneration. Again, when we're thinking about what's happening in the skin, this is a great solution to address those. The Resist Rewind Sunshield Plus is the same formula as the Sunshield Plus that we reviewed in Acne Vulgaris. The difference is packaging because it comes in a set. And then finally, we have the Resist Rewind Night Lotion. So this does have 4% benzoyl peroxide in it, also turmeric, palmitoyl tripeptide 5, retinol palmitate, and then neuropeptides. Great for acting as a moisture retention. So we're fighting the bacteria and strengthening the skin defenses. The neuropeptides specifically are acetyl hexapeptide and dipeptide diaminobutyrol, and those work by encouraging flexibility in the skin. So that is the Resist Rewind set. Is there any questions on the hormonal acne? Any questions on anything so far? We are coming really close, you guys. The next category is a fun one, but it's a big one. It's therapeutics. So therapeutics is really a category because they're cross-functional. So they're going to be appropriate for some of the skin conditions that we have seen previously, because we do have something for everyone, and our products are so effective in many different areas that I just wanted to put these in a different category, and we'll talk through some opportunities. Now, first we have the Gentle Foaming Cleanser. This is phenomenal for post-treatment. Also just a great all-around cleanser. What's nice about this is not just the scent experience, because it smells amazing, but that it's a great way to support the skin's natural pH while cleansing, not irritating, not aggravating, a nice cleanser. This is a 6.7 ounce and it lasts forever. This is also a sidebar for our chemical peels. This is one of the cleansers that we use often to neutralize. We don't use water necessarily. We want to make sure this is neutralized. And so the ingredients in this formulation help to neutralize peeling for ClearChoice peels. And perhaps, Julia, we can put a ClearChoice peel class on the books because those are amazing. The first ingredient that we'll talk about here, or highlight, is alpha bisabolol. This is a monocyclic sesquiterpene. Again, remember how terpenes work to repair, our sesquiterpenes specifically, so it helps to accelerate the healing process. Soapwort extract is another product that is derived from nature, but it encourages mild foaming. So that's that gentle foaming. So functional ingredients are key because we're not using just any kind of a surfactant. We've got something in here that is also anti-inflammatory, calming, astringent. Love that ingredient. And yucca extract is great because it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. So it's gentle, but it's incredibly effective. You can use this for, this could be a substitute or an alternative for acne vulgaris, or even for rosacea. Really great. Anti-wrinkle retinox is a really nice, beautiful anti-aging, also could be put into the glycation category formulation. Key things in this one particularly is that it has that drone technology, the drone retinol technology. So we have retinol and retinol palmitate in here. Anti-wrinkle retinol, retinox is 1%, so comparable to a 0.1%. But it doesn't just behave like that. So it's really hard. We get that question a lot, like what is the percentage of retinol in this? When those percentages were originally used as a comparison for prescriptive vitamin A products, it was easier to translate until technology started to get sophisticated. The reason that number was important is because it was really an indication of the amount of perceived inflammation that we can have in the skin. So I'm going to put them on 1%. We know it's going to go through this layer. So by the time it gets to the skin, it's going to be like a 0.5%. So they might need a 3% because the time it gets through, it's going to act this way. So though it's a 1%, which is incredibly effective, it behaves like a higher percentage. And it behaves like a higher percentage for two reasons. One, it doesn't have to go through the conversion process in the skin. And two, it's bypassing the lipid matrix of the skin, getting into the aqueous phase of the skin where it needs to communicate most effectively. So you're not going to have as much inflammation, but you are going to have all of the efficacy. Very important. And a little bit of dryness with this, but you're not going to have to graduate into the use of this the way you would with other retinol creams. So slight dryness of the skin as your skin is getting acquainted, but you can really move into using this daily or every other day quickly, where other products maybe you use once a week and then twice a week and then 3 times a week. You don't have to with this. Other ingredients include other ingredients include that DMAE, which is skin tightening, and then alpha lipoic acid for preventing collagen degradation, D-panthenol or vitamin B5, which is going to help with hydration and elasticity in the skin. And then, of course, my little darling down here, Cica or Centella asiatica. So when we're looking at repairing or signaling or stimulating the dermal layer, is a really key player for regeneration. It's awesome. Next, we have age-defying moisture. So age-defying moisture is especially effective to give all-day hydration. It also enhances the skin's response to treatment. So preparing it ahead of time is the similar concept of really working out the skin before it has a long race. It contains acetohexapeptide 8, which is intended to support balanced skin hydration and to reduce the appearance of wrinkles. Ubiquinone, which is a powerful antioxidant, which also encourages our own endogenous CoQ10 levels in the skin, which is fantastic. It's almost like a 2-for-1 ingredient. And then dipeptide, diaminobutyryl, benzoylamide diacetate increases collagen elastin production while really relaxing facial muscles. So this is the Botox peptides. Glycolipids help support the glycolipid reservoir, and that maintains cell membrane stability. When we're talking about growth factors or this drone technology or anything else, one of the most important things in the skin is that cell membrane health is functioning. So this is a fantastic ingredient for that. Rosicanina extract, which encourages cell longevity, and Malus domestica fruit cell culture, which is apple stem cells, encourages skin resilience. Does anybody know this is Swiss apple plant stem cell? Does anyone know why that's important? Swiss apple stem cell particularly? The Swiss apple is a plant that grows in Switzerland at high altitude. It's not a plant, it's a tree, but it's at high altitude. So if we think of high altitude, there's not a lot of oxygen in the air. It's not very warm, and there's a harsh climate. So you have this beautiful flowering tree that creates fruit that is very nutritive, even though it's in these harsh climates. So if you want to put that in an analogy for the skin, think of it as supporting the skin through all these changes that we go through, the hormone changes, the stress of dropping the kids off in time, or being married. Nobody told me being married was going to be so stressful, or any really just living in today's lifestyle. So the Swiss apple fruit cell culture helps us to have these beautiful, nutritive, supportive skin cells, even though we're living in a very harsh climate. So I like to think of that analogy for that skin ingredient particularly. A Lumiderm is another product. So this is a serum-y consistency. It's high performance exfoliating serum. It's a 12% acid cocktail of glycolic, lactic, and mandelic, azelaic. There are four of them, but I just separated them here for you. So this cocktail increases skin regeneration, natural moisture factor, and skin brightening in the skin. And then it also has cica or Centella asiatica and um, phycnogenol, which is a really great ingredient for preventing collagen damage. So this product would also be fantastic in the glycation section, but it's so many other things. It's also going to be fantastic in the acne vulgaris section, in the anti-aging section, and to be quite frank, for those who can handle it, like if it's not a trigger, patch test this for rosacea clients. This is actually very effective for them too. So I would keep one on your back bar if you do have quite a bit of rosacea clients, because this will actually be very, very beneficial for them too. But you've not knowing the triggers, you want to make sure and test it first. In the treatment room, this would actually be phenomenal for even as a prep before dermaplaning too, or right before chemical peels. Lots of opportunity with this guy. Mini facial. This product is such an experience. It smells like you're at the spa. I love that for this. So I do use this in the treatment room, even though it's not back bar size. I do use this quite a bit in the treatment room for what it can do. It's kind of well-rounded, particularly, but it does have a lot of oil absorbing properties to it. I like to use it pre-enzyme peel, pre-dermaplane, for advanced dermaplaning, and even pre-micro needling to get the skin condition. The mechanical exfoliation element of this is crushed bamboo stems. So a key to get this off is after you've removed it, because sometimes it'll leave the remnants, is to take one of those brushes, like a fan brush, and then just gently fan it back and forth over the skin. It helps to remove it, when the skin's dry or whatever. And the clients think it's some kind of additional experience. So it's a win-win. It also has sunflower oil, hyaluronic acid, evening primrose, which we haven't talked about much yet. Evening primrose is awesome because it's nutrient dense, and the nutrients help encourage elasticity, cell structural support, and cell communication. It's a really nice ingredient. And then the way that it works in this formula is awesome. And then sesame seed oil. So it's really a balancing product and a preparation product. Lots of different ways to use that. Lumi enzyme mask is so gentle and effective. This is the retail size we see in this picture, but it also does come in back bar size. What I love about this one particularly is it's going to encourage skin immunity, and it could be used as a mask or gommage. So you're going to apply it really thin, let it set, and then you can roll it off almost. It's very brightening. It has the enzymes, which are bromelain and papain, and then, of course, the illuminating components like kojic acid. Really brightening, very hydrating, and it's fantastic. I like to use this pre hydrodermabrasion too. That looks like a question. Are the fragrances in your products natural or synthetic? And do you carry fragrance-free products for sensitized rosacea skin? So the fragrances are all naturally derived. And oftentimes it's the scent. So I think that this is Alyssa. I think that this might go back to the scent experience of this product here. And the scent experience is really attributed to the makeup of the product. So that's the case with most of our products, unless it has a little bit of other ingredients, naturally derived ingredients for scent power. If there's something particular, the products that we mentioned for rosacea specifically are they don't have additional scent boosting except for what the natural ingredients are. So if there's any other specific questions, we can definitely answer them on a case by case. But most of the scent that you're smelling in the products is functional scent. But there's a lot of, yes, to answer your question, yes, there's a lot of options. Next, we have the pumpkin enzyme complex, or PEC. This is great any time of year, but especially in the fall. This also has those crushed bamboo stems. That's the mechanical exfoliation, but it has pumpkin seed extract also. So it's a twofer in that. And then papain, lactic and malic acid, and seaweed extract. So it does smell like pumpkin, and it has a enzymatic component as well as a mechanical component. So you're going to put it on, let it set, and then massage it in, remove it, and use that trick again with the pylon brush. I'm just kind of working it back and forth to that sound and removing any remnants. Oh, you guys, this sodium hyaluronate. Listen, let me tell you, scent-free, fragrance-free. Let me tell you why you need this. If you get lip fillers, you need this. If you don't get lip fillers, you need this. This product is so beautiful for everywhere, all over. But it's going to have two components in here that make it super effective. It's hyaluronic and sodium hyaluronate. So one will draw moisture to it, and one will draw moisture and hyaluronic into the skin and hold it. So it's two different molecular weights for that reason. Incredibly effective. So I accidentally put this on my lips one night, and I was like, oh my goodness. They were so soft, so supple. I thought, oh, this is so temporary. But my lips looked like I had injections, like a fresh set. This the perfect amount, none of that weird stuff. And then the next day they were so soft and supple again. So now I've incorporated this into my nightly and daily routine. Is a little bit of this. And then I also put it underneath my eyes. This is a universal product. There's really nobody this is not for. It's especially effective to draw and hold moisture in the skin. So anyone whose skin is parched, whose skin is compromised, whose skin is affected. So this is glycation. This is rosacea. This is especially for the different types of acne that you have, sensitive skin. This is fantastic. It also comes in back bar size, very effective for nano needling or micro needling or post treatment. It's that glass of water right after. Love this one. It's a clinical strength hyaluronic acid serum, and it really is designed to hydrate and plump the skin. Try it on your lips. Tell Julia all about it, who's going to tell me because it's going to be one of your favorite little tricks. This size also, it is 1 ounce and it does last quite a bit. So just something else to consider. Then we have our hydrating mask plus night therapy. So this is going to be a sleep mask. We have DMAE in this ingredient, ALA in this ingredient, D-panthenol or vitamin B5, sodium hyaluronate, azulene, and vitamin E. So when you look at the totality of this formula, you can see this is really like the rescue repair. It's going to deliver a lot of hydration, calming it, cooling the skin. I had recently a peel. I am in perimenopause, so my skin is sometimes sensitive, sometimes not. I had a very innocuous or light enzyme peel. My skin responded. I went to bed in this. I woke up. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Also, I ended up burning my hand on a coffee cup, and areas were blistered, and other areas were just red. And I used this every night in that area, and it really, in my opinion, helped to expedite the healing of the entire area. So this is a lovely night mask, especially effective for post laser, about 3 to 5 days post, as long as there's no broken skin. Peel Guard, this is a great product. I just mentioned laser treatments. This is great for your clients who are recovering from laser treatments or from peels that are having a lot of sloughing or dust formation, because this is going to help to keep the skin soft. So it reduces that desire to pull those extra layers off. It is petrolatum, and this is a hypoallergenic ingredient that it acts as a barrier so your skin can repair. Then we have vitamin E, D-panthenol, squalane, and hyaluronic acid. So it's occlusive, not letting any bad things in. And then these lovely ingredients are just penetrating into the skin and encouraging regeneration, strength. We have our Level Up Primer. So this is a great primer to prime the skin pre-makeup. It's so much more than just leveling out. It's also conditioning the skin and supporting the skin barrier. Has titanium dioxide, which is going to help to absorb oil, which is increasing your makeup stay power. Has rhatany root extract, green tea, B5, and sodium PCA. So we haven't talked about rhatany root extract, but this is incredibly anti-inflammatory. So perhaps this is a good thing to consider for those who have acne vulgaris. They're going to put a full face of makeup on, or even rosacea. This is a good option there. And then sodium PCA helps to prevent water loss, so especially for if, inflamed barriers. So great here. Next, we have our most popular product, which is Sport Shield SPF 45. This comes in a 4-ounce and a 2-ounce. It's micronized zinc oxide, ALA, Mag C, which is a still very, very brightening and supportive form of vitamin C, vitamin E, grapeseed extract. This is fantastic for, it's very lightweight. And then it's not in this, but we also have Cover Shield. So Cover Shield is a phenomenal formulation also. I like it just as much. It's an SPF 35. Very effective still for all day use, but it's the Cover Shield SPF 35, very similar in formulation. The scent experience is phenomenal. You got to try that one too, the Cover Shield. We have our Sport Shield Extreme. This has a blend of physical and chemical SPF, copper gluconate, cica, seaweed extract, and then MAP, magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, or vitamin C. Then we have a section called dermal sensory correction, and the dermal sensory correction is that fortifying of those skin defenses, so that calming opportunity. There are a few other products in this category, but I wanted to explain this. You'll see us expand on this more and more in the next year or so. This is also something that you'll find in the Prana SpaCeuticals line, even in the intimate brightening. So I want to touch on this especially to understand what it is. Let's talk about the role of the skin's sensory system at all. The skin's dermal sensory correction in inflamed skin is going to stop or intervene to promote healing, because if it's in the chronic state of inflammation, you can't get to that point where it's starting to heal, starting to regenerate, starting to be balanced. So this interference with dermal sensory correction is really important. It's really important about for balancing and leveling skin conditions like rosacea, barrier impairment, inflamed acne, hormonal reactivity. But it's also really good to precondition the skin prior to treatment, because if it's interfered with before we get to that point, that means that there's a more predictable result from any chemical peel that we might do, any dermaplaning, any microneedling treatment. It's stronger and is better to receive it. If you want an analogy, think of like being insecure and receiving constructive criticism. You don't necessarily receive it well, but if you're secure and you get that constructive criticism, you take it for what it is. So that's the way I like to think of it. And then, of course, really effective for those things. So let's talk about why this is important. For dermal sensory correction, it's important because we're going to calm the mechanoreceptors receptors and sensory neurons. So maintaining Healthy skin communication is the key because you're going to get predictable and favorable results. And this is irregardless of skin condition. And normalizing sensory perception is the next thing. So for normalizing sensory perception in the skin, the skin is not going to be as panicked over some slight change or anything like that. So it reduces or it influences these neural interpretations, and that influence reduces reactivity. So you're still going to have a response, but not the reactivity that can cascade into other problems. And then that is great for long-term changes because products that include dermal sensory correction help the skin to have sustained changes. And sustained changes lead into long-term results. Long-term results increases your profitability. So there's a few products. We talked about even tone and a few before, but these are just two standout. One is the hydrating balance, which it's a serum or a toner consistency. So this is actually a spray bottle. Has alpha bisabolol, um, sodium hyaluronate, sodium PCA, D-panthenol or vitamin B5, and then cyanocobalamin or vitamin B12. This is that oxygen and nutrient delivery into the skin cells, and azulene. So all in, this is dermal sensory correction. You'll notice it here on the bottle. It'll say dermal sensory correction. That's through all of our formulas. And then finally, we have, see here, dermal sensory correction. We have Modality Med Balm. Modality Med Balm is really a 911 product, very specific. This is going to be post-aesthetic treatment. So these are going to be deep, deep peels or laser as dextran and palmitoyl tripeptide 8. So this particular compound is very calming, very soothing, and it sounds so understated to say it that way, but really what it's doing is interfering with it. Oh my gosh. Also, we have silk amino protein acids in this one. We have ceramides in this 3,6, and 1 lecithin, phospholipids, and linoleic acid. Great. That is it for me for today. This is not everything, but that's a good chunk of our retail offering. I hope that you were able to enjoy the presentation. I want to see if there were any questions here. This is something. Can you explain why micronized zinc is controversial? Some say not safe. Here's what I'm going to say about micronized zinc. Actually, here's what I'm going to say about SPF formulations. SPF formulations are required to be tested in order to have drug facts on the back. The drug facts it's regulated. And so I'm going to tell you guys a secret. That process is not cheap. So every batch of sunscreen, if it's a batch that's this big, if it's a batch that's this big, it has to be tested. And it has to be tested to make sure that it is basically doing what it says it does, that it has this SPF and so on. So the controversy, in my opinion, on the micronized zinc is because they're saying that it's so micronized that it's going to penetrate to a certain level, which they haven't shown, or that it's ineffective, which they haven't shown. But I'll tell you that they're meant to be effective. So all of our sunscreens are tested for efficacy in FDA-approved lab, not just once, not just twice, but they're triple tested. So all of ours are fantastic. Otherwise, if you want to have an off-the-record conversation, I'm happy to do that. But that's my take on it. I think it's salacious at best. Is there any other questions? All right, Julia. Well, I thank you guys so much. It's been really fun to have you guys here. We have a couple other classes coming up. I think maybe we could try to get a peel class on the books, Julia.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to get a peel class on the books. I'll take a look at the class calendar. Everyone, this class was recorded, so the recording will be sent out to you probably around tomorrow. It takes a little bit for it to download. But yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Don't forget about that coupon code. And thank you so much, Ella. That was an amazing class.
Thank you guys. I had fun.
Yeah, let me just make sure. Yeah, we got all the Oh, and everyone, the protocol booklet, if you guys want to see specific ClearChoice protocols, that all actually lives on our website. If you go to education, manufacturer resources, and Dermastart and ClearChoice, you can see all the protocols they have. We keep everything there. So it's a great tool for our estheticians. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Ella. Everyone have a great Monday.
Bye, Julia. Thank you so much.
Of course. Bye.